Imagine you have a volatile parent that has issues with drugs and alcohol. You don't know if they're going to come home and just like fly off the handle. You try to find every way that you can to try to smooth the situation over and try to keep things from getting to that next level.
It's usually people that don't have the experience either. That's the part. It's they speak very loud, but they're guessing, because lots of those people haven't had those experiences. The ones that truly have experienced and lived through the life are typically the quietest, because they're listening.
Just be honest with your intentions, and not just romantically, but in life, in your career, and with yourself. What are your intentions? And am I doing things and making choices that keep me on that path? Or am I not? Do you have somebody in your life that can help you get back on the path, that can see you for what you're doing? Maybe. But at the end of the day, you don't have to have friends that will crack back on you. It's nice if you do. You're going to always be your own best and worst critic.
It's a decision that we actively have to make. We have to struggle daily. It's not a one-time decision. It's all right, I'm waking up today. Should I brush my teeth or should I jerk off?
Warning. May contain profanity, drug use, dad talk, NSFW topics, tasty jams, and door peanuts.
I am Woodstock.
Hey, cheers, brother. This ain't a B, but we're going to get started with our beloved Temptress. Not a actual beer, Temptress. The Colombiana, though. I love this beer. It is what year is this? Oh, this is a 23. This is 23. What year was the best? 21?
Any year that I'm drinking, I think, was the best one.
All right, well, cheers. All right, well, we definitely have a lot to talk about. And before we get into the main thing that I think we want to hit on, I think it's very important, especially in this time with the elections coming up. People need to know there is a third option, and that is Creed 2024, Take Me Higher. Can I get a little riff from you? Creed style? Can you take? No, I'm not going to do that. I just did. All right, Adrian, cut all that out. We're going to start here. Welcome back, Chuck.
Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge.
What are you thinking?
Maybe 6 feet's not so far down.
That's deep.
I'm only 6'3", so...
Well, welcome to the show, man. I always look forward to having you on. You've probably been on iaM Woodstock more than anyone else.
Twice?
No, you've been on the Bays.
Yeah, but
the Bays.
I wasn't featured, though.
You definitely are a large part of the mix on the Bay. I like taking a back seat on those. It's nice not having to drive the entire conversation. And you definitely brought some flavor to the last couple. Shout out to Four Noses wearing their swag right now, which, if you're listening, this really is like legit an amazing fishing shirt.
I almost brought mine.
I've been wearing it to the river, too.
I was like, Jace has one. There's a chance we might be twinsies, so I should have brought it.
But a Creed 24 Take Me Higher tank also rocks. It slaps, if you will.
I'm just glad that I can listen to them openly now. Like, I don't have to hide in my room in the dark anymore.
I never hid. Embarrassing story, although it's talking about bringing a child in the world. What's the With Arms Wide Open? My high school girlfriend, that was our song. First time we kissed.
That you banged her to?
No, I was Mormon.
Did you soak?
I didn't bang. Nope, not even that cool.
You didn't even soak?
No,
loser.
I was virgin as can be in my younger years.
I think it's made you a better adult.
I had a lot of catching up to do. Just kidding, Treya. You were my first. Anyways, let's move on to an actual podcast now. Keep all that in, Adrian. Keep it all in. But, dude, welcome back.
It's good to be here.
I miss you as a friend, as a podcast guest, it's your first time in my new studio. What do you think?
I think it's better than a trailer.
Whoa, shots fired.
Although I really did enjoy the trailer aspect of it. You were not in your top form that day, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
And I think you admitted a few times in the broadcast, you were like, I was up till 4 a.m. This is not good.
I believe I said before we started recording, just don't ask me any questions. And then you asked me a question. It was a great question, and I wish I would have had a good answer. But I believe my answer was, and
I remember the question.
What was it?
It was during this process between our first and our 69th experience in the iaW Woodstock podcast. What have you really learned, and how do you think that you progressed? Where have been the areas that you feel like you've improved the most? And you were like,
I drink too much and stay out too late. You should do a podcast, Chuck. That was good.
I just don't have the wherewithal to like set all the stuff up. So I just talk to myself in the bathroom.
You're moving to San Antonio, and you're just going to use my studio.
Love San Antonio. Come back anytime.
Love the tacos. Love everything about it. San Antonio has definitely grown on me very quickly. Traffic on 1604, as you found out last night, is hell on earth. But other than that, I guess 35 is also hell. We also witnessed that today as well.
I don't like to go fast, so it was perfect for me.
Well, let's jump right into it. Shout out to San Antonio and all that. But
say, Tom, Trinity University Tigers, class of 2007. Let's go.
Oh yeah, that's right. You lived here for years, didn't you?
A few decades ago. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What was it we were talking about earlier? The Pearl changed a little bit.
Yep.
I've not been there yet.
It was historic then. It's historic now. Even more so, apparently.
It's just a brewery. Like, what's historic about it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. They don't make beer anymore, do they?
I went once and I was hammered in college, so I can't really. I'm not qualified to speak on what they have or have not done at all.
Well, one thing I definitely want to delve in, that just hit it right off the bat, is you. You've been through some shit over the last few years. The last podcast we had, not only was I out of sorts, but we had talked, after we recorded. We always have the best conversations off the mic, as I say probably too often. But, we were talking about how when we share things with other people, it allows them to realize that, oh shit, I'm not in this alone. And honestly, you had a lot of insights that we'd been talking for months now before I, got over here to San Antonio, got the studio set up. And let's fucking talk about some real shit.
Okay.
Your son did tell me earlier I do say the F word a lot.
Yeah,
you
dropped some F-bombs, but I think it's appropriate.
According to my sister, it's because I have a terrible vocabulary.
Well, I told my kids it's because you grew up Mormon and you didn't get to use them, and so now you use them every chance that you get.
That's part of it. That's part of it. I think it adds a flavor. It adds a little bit of emotion, and I think you can get it otherwise. I agree that you can eloquate very much gooder without swearing, but...
So my Uncle Dad always said that curse words are kind of like garlic. They're excellent, but you got to be careful how and when you use them, because you can over season the pasta a little bit, I guess. And if you do, you lose the flavor of all the other stuff that you put in the dish. So maybe just tone it down around my kids.
Apt analogy. It's some people love garlic and it doesn't bother them. Some people eat garlic, other people's don't. The peoples who don't. I'm on a roll right now. I love the peoples. We have been drinking since noon. It's, 7 o'clock now? So buckle up.
That's how we get honesty. Truth serum, I guess.
It is. No, I recently had some health issues, and my sister called me up. I told you the story earlier, but I thought it was funny. Growing up Mormon, no one drinks alcohol. It's a pretty big deal if you do. It's, you go home, tell your mom you drink Budweiser, and she's going to cry, right? And so my sister, she loves me. She knows I drink. I had it at my wedding, and, it's not a secret or anything, but she called me up. She's like, hey, you and my husband have, the same, illness that's affecting you at the moment. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I thought it was just all this like alcoholism that's been pushing me into getting, whatever I got. And I guess now I can continue to drink. And we had a good laugh about it, but she definitely said, no, I shouldn't have told you. I now regret it. Anyways, Adrian, cut all that out too. Just kidding. I need to drink less before podcasts.
No, I think you're doing great.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. That's why I love having you on.
Joe Rogan eats your heart out.
All right, so let's delve right into it, man. When you are a father, a single father of two beautiful young boys.
I am.
I imagine the difficulties and the blessings that you have are very different from the flavor of the world that I'm currently living with, 2 little girls, first off. But then also having a partner there definitely changes things. Tell us a little bit about, as a single dad, what are the things that not only do you wish you would have known, but, what are some things that other people who are listening can learn from? What are some of the lessons that you had throughout this?
Oh boy. So it's been a journey, as most things in life are. I think for me, I got to back up from your initial question and just kind of set the stage a little bit first.
Thank you.
I think ultimately, like, the thrust of kind of what I want to talk about today is honesty and how it's gotten me to the place where I am right now. Not only specifically in the world, but with myself. And I think that's been something that's helped me to overcome the challenges that have arisen. I'd like to go ahead and just first off and say that I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life. I'm at the best place, physically, spiritually, mentally. It sounds kind of shitty, but I call it my Ascension era, because I feel like I've risen above a lot of the things that have held me back and held me down in my life. And I've been able to cut myself free from a lot of the things that I imposed upon myself. So to frame it in perspective around being a single parent, I think it kind of boils down to pretty much everything else that we do in life, and that we do the best that we can with what we have. I don't think this is how I would have drawn it up. I don't think any single parent thinks, oh yeah, this is how I wanted it to go. Like, I wanted to be together for a little while, and then now I want to just do this shit on my own. Like, I don't know. Maybe if you go through the process of having children in vitro, or you're like a single mom that just wants to have a kid and you find a donor, like, I'm sure that there's people that have different situations from mine. I can't speak to that. I think for me, being their father is the best job in the world. Like, that is the thing that when I wake up in the morning that excites me and delights me. And it's my purpose to do a better job with them than was done with me. And a psychotherapist might tell you that I'm just chasing this trauma loop because I didn't have a terrific relationship with my dad. But I really do feel that the best thing that I can do on this earth in the time that I'm here is to leave 2 better versions of myself, and to do the best job for them that I can, to set them up for success, and that they will hopefully kind of daisy chain that positive effect out into the world and affect other people's lives. And that when I'm gone, I know that they will be carrying on the same legacy, the same mantra, the same thought process that I taught them. So I don't think that really answered your question. The challenges are timing and scheduling and relationships with their mother. She's a great mother. She's a good person, but we as a couple were not good. We did not speak the same language. We did not encourage each other to be better. We challenged each other in the wrong ways, and didn't create an environment that was good for either of us as individuals or for the kids collectively. I will forever be grateful to her. And there's a part of me that will always love her because she gave me those 2 guys. Like, she carried them, she delivered them, she brought them screaming and kicking out into this world. That I couldn't do that on my own. There's some things that you cannot do by yourself, and that's one of them. And so she will forever have my respect and my gratitude, despite any misalignment that we had as partners. So figuring out the balance between how we're going to do things collectively as co-parents is a challenge. Fortunately enough, we're pretty much aligned on all the big issues. Like, we think that they need to be guided closely. Like, they shouldn't have unlimited access to devices and the internet. Like, they're not going to get keys to motorcycles when they're 15. Like, none of that stuff. But keeping a healthy line of communication between somebody that you had a romantic relationship with and now you don't, but yet you have two very precious lives that you're trying to culture and raise to be the best versions of themselves that you can. Like it's a lot different than if you're under the same roof, which, you know, you and Trey are obviously doing, you and your wife are obviously doing a great job with your unnamed children. But it's a lot easier to get to those decisions when you live under the same roof. And, you know, even trying to find that balance through text messages, and it is a challenge.
As you've been through a few relationships, each one you're going to learn something different. On some you fucked up, on the others you fucked up, and my relationships I fucked up. I'm pretty sure Rachel's fucked up a few times as well. Our partners also have fucked up, and so it's not a matter of who's fucked up, it's a matter of how we react to them, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first one I fucked up for real. Like it was the right.
I don't know any details. I never met her or anything.
It was the right person, wrong time. Like I was at a point in my life where I was still figuring out who I was, and I was still like getting used to the fact, like not to sound conceited, that I wasn't like a fat nerdy kid anymore, and that I actually was relatively attractive.
Yeah, I've seen your older photos. You were a fat nerdy kid.
I was a fat nerdy kid. I had glasses. I had an overbite.
I didn't know you had glasses.
Yes, I did. I'm wearing contacts right now. I had braces for 6 years. I had them all through high school and 2 years of college. Don't go to college with braces if you can avoid it. Like, get them at 12. Get it done by the time you're like halfway through high school. Like, hey guys, I'm a freshman. I can't have Cheetos or corn that's not cut off the cob.
You always moved to the UK.
Fortunately, I played a little bit of football in college, and they made special mouthpieces for that, so I didn't have any wires stick through my face.
It's a fun fact.
But yeah, as far as the relationship aspect of it, like I was, my identity changed from like being somebody that was invisible to somebody that was incredibly very visible, and I didn't know how to deal or process all that attention. I didn't have the skills for it. Like,
you didn't have this self-control.
Yeah, well,
or maybe you hadn't, similar to my swearing, you'd never been able to experience it, so you jumped all in.
Well, it ties into a deeper issue, right? Like, you know, the nature of my upbringing. You know that there was misalignment from a parenting standpoint. My dad was not really a part of the picture. My mom was dealing with issues with alcohol and substance abuse. So there was really like nobody there, like patting me on the back and telling me that I was like doing good. Like I didn't have that reassuring hand, so to speak, other than my grandmother, Mama in East Texas, who's still alive and still with us, 81 years old, God bless her, that will stand by me through anything. But like from a mother and father standpoint, like I didn't really have anybody that was reassuring me or like encouraging me or saying, hey, you're doing a good job. Like, we're proud of you. I think that was the one thing that I was always wanting to hear. And like some people kind of go one direction where they act out and act poorly to get attention. Like they start fires, they, you know, beat other kids up, they break the law, whatever. Like I kind of went the opposite direction. I tried to be the very best in school that I could be. I tried to be the very best in sports that I could be. I thought if I could be perfect, that somebody would tell me that they were proud of me. And in ways they did, but not in the ways that I really felt that I needed at the times that I needed them. So that left a relatively large and kind of a gaping hole in my psyche and my personality, because I was searching for external validation and external love instead of loving myself. And at the beginning of this, we talked about honesty. I am a recovering and extremely talented liar. And the person that I've lied to the most and the most convincingly has been myself. It's a defense mechanism that people develop when they're in situations of stress and trauma to try to avoid getting in trouble. So imagine you have a volatile parent that has issues with drugs and alcohol. You don't know if they're going to come home and just like fly off the handle. You try to find every way that you can to try to smooth the situation over and try to keep things from getting to that next level. For me, it was trying to protect my little brother and trying to keep Sean out of the crosshairs. So I developed the skill of being able to massage the truth to fit the narrative that would try to keep us as safe as possible. So that was something that I did, given the situation that I was in, to try to control the things that I could control. The problem with that is when you get really good at lying and you start lying to yourself, like you don't know what the truth is anymore, and you lose your sense of self. And when you don't have a sense of self, it's hard to pat yourself on the back and say, hey, you're doing a good job, because you don't know what your job is, or if you're doing it well or doing it shitty, or whatever the case may be. So I think that more than anything else in the last 41 years of my life has been the biggest hurdle that I didn't even create for myself. It was a response to a situation, an environment. Fixing that has changed the scope and the narrative and the trajectory of my life infinitely. It's a cliche to say that the truth has set you free, but it does. And being truthful with yourself, you don't have to be perfect. We're human beings. We have flaws. The sooner that you understand them and embrace them and start doing things to address them, the better your quality of life is going to be. Like there's a saying, I don't know where it came from, but you can't fight an enemy without a name. You have to give it a name before you can battle it. And so for me, it was self-delusion, an inflated sense of self that was a compensation mechanism. And it was not wanting to admit the places where I was weak and where I was frail and where I was vulnerable, and starting to address those. And as we're doing right now, like 5-10 years ago, this is not a conversation that I would have ever dreamed of having.
When I first met you, there's no chance we would have this conversation.
No, I hated your guts when I first met you.
You've grown a lot.
Only because my brother liked you so much. I was like, that's my brother. I don't want him to like anybody besides me. Again, another self-esteem, self-appreciation, like coping mechanism. So I think figuring those things out has really contributed to me being the father that I want to be. And the fact that there's nothing that I'm ever going to do that's more important than those boys.
So you said right person, wrong time. How did you get to the realizations that you're having now? Is there a way to get there sooner, or is it simply a matter of living life?
Self-reflection. Like, you need to be like, okay, I'm going to reference another text that I've been into recently, the last lecture by Randy Pausch. And it's a dying man giving his last lecture to his kids and to the world. And
make a note of that one, Rachel. I need to get that.
It's phenomenal. It's on Audible. And he was a professor at Carnegie Mellon, and a brilliant one. He pioneered virtual reality, basically. He worked for the Imagineers at Disney. The headsets that they have now at Apple and stuff, he was one of the guys that like laid down all of that programming and built the gaming and entertainment world from a CGI perspective that we have now. And he passed away from pancreatic cancer.
Randy, and how do you pronounce that?
Pausch. Pausch.
Guy we probably need to all know his name.
One of the things that he talked about in the last lecture was that as a professor and as a teacher, it's not about so much the source material, but one of the greatest things that a professor can teach a student is how to learn and how to be self-reflective, how to check in with your own mind, how to check in with your own heart, how to be able to look at yourself objectively and figure out how you're doing and be real and be honest with yourself. Like, hey, I'm doing well here. I'm not doing well here. How do I start putting together a plan to like work on the things that I need to work on? And as an educator that was in the computer science field, like, it's extremely technical. And the thing that was most important to him was helping his students to see themselves in the right way and to be able to evaluate themselves and to be able to learn and to be able to grow and to be able to push through what he calls brick walls. And brick walls can be people, they can be illness, they can be obstacles, like in any form or format. Like, we're going to encounter brick walls every day. How do we be persistent? How do we jump over them? How do we dig under them? How do we push through them? And the message of that was very strong. And in listening to it, I realized, like, without having heard that I've been doing a lot of those things because I got so fucking tired of being depressed and not knowing who I was and not having my feet on the ground.
As we grow up, all of us are going to go through these long stretches sometimes of, I was going to say self-doubt, but like, it's not even to that point. Like, that's after you start realizing that you don't know what's going on. But through most of my like adolescent into high school, even probably into college a little bit, there were so many times that when I look back on it, I see now and I recognize, oh, I was going through this or I was going through that. At the time, it was just,
life.
It wasn't thought. There was no thought about it.
You can't see the forest for the trees.
And, I like shooting high, and if I can do one thing with this is to get it entertaining enough to where we have enough people listening to where they hear things like this and realize, oh shit, let me get through my own shit real quick because I'm not alone. And I think the delay in a lot of us getting to the ascension, as you said, is because we don't realize, we don't understand, we think we're alone. And the fact of the matter is we're absolutely not. Like, we have the option to not be alone. Let me put it that way. Did you have anyone in your life that you could talk to about all of this as it was going on, or did you even think to?
Yeah, I did. Before I talk about that, though, I would say I agree with you. Like, you're not alone. But when it comes to taking the step and working up the impetus to make a decision to change things for the better, nobody can do it for you. So in a way, you are alone. Yeah. But it's not something to be scared of. It's a choice that you have to make. And it's one that you're going to be the one that's going to reap the benefits or the downfalls of every choice that you make in life.
I guess
but it's great to have feedback from people that are honest and that care and that can give you a view of your life that you're not going to get because you can't see the forest for the trees because you're in so deep and it's happening to you. As you said, looking back, it's easy to look back and say, yeah, this was good, this was bad, this was the right choice, this was not. But in the moment, you don't know how things are going to play out. I'm very blessed that, my younger brother, Sean, is my very best friend in this world. And we went through the same stuff together growing up and saw the same things, both good and bad. So I think he understands me in a fundamental way, probably better than anybody else ever will. Not to say that there's not somebody that's going to know me better from this point forward in my life, but that has a complete understanding of how I got to where I'm at. He's the only one that knows. And I was able to lean on him a little bit. And then my Joe Rodriguez, who my buddy from H-Town.
Shout out. Love my boy Joe.
One of the best character arcs of any human being that I've ever seen in my life, man. Like the way that this guy's changed and evolved and the things that he brings to the table and offers as a human being to the people that he cares about is exceptional. And he provided a place and he's a fucking tough guy, dude. Like, he's a fucking large, muscular, like tatted up Mexican dude. And he was the last person that I would ever think would come to me and be like, dude, how are you doing with this? Like, how are you feeling about this? Like, and then give me, it wasn't always the best advice because I didn't grow up Latino. So like, there's a little bit of a disconnect there, but he was incredible for me as a place where I could be 100% myself and like vent the things that I was feeling. And he would give me honest, sometimes painful feedback. But I think if you live in a coddle culture and you don't have, like, the people that give you the hard advice, the people that tell you the things that are hard, those are the people that care about you the most. The people that just kind of go along with whatever that you're doing and nod their head and say, yeah, like, it takes somebody that loves you to willingly say, you're not doing the right things. Like, if you keep going down this path, it's not going to work out well for you. And I love you too much to see this happen to you. So if I don't say this, it's going to eat me up inside. And he was that guy for me. Sean was that guy for me. You and I had some conversations. But at the end of the day, you got to figure it out. Like, you got to be able to, like, you got to be able to vocalize it. You got to be able to get it out there, because talking about it is cathartic. I think, like, as human beings, like it's part of who we are. Like, we need to tell stories. We need to like get things out there into the universe. We have to share and communicate. So for the guys out there listening that are dealing with any kind of issues from a mental health perspective, like, talk to somebody, man, get it, because it's going to fester inside of your heart. It's going to create all kinds of problems physically, mentally, emotionally. If you have somebody in your life that you feel comfortable talking to these things about, like, do it. And if you don't, maybe reevaluate your friend group, you know. That sounds judgmental. I'm just very blessed in the network that I have, and that, you know, despite the things that I went through growing up and the unfortunate circumstances there, that I've had an exceptional supporting cast around me, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, like, that took care of me to the best of their abilities.
So you said something that it struck a chord. I was saying, you're not alone, right? You're not alone if you choose not to be alone. Let me put it that way. I had a very good friend.
I agree.
He convinced me to get on Facebook, and he would get all these comments and pokes and likes, and I didn't. And I said, what's going on? He said, well, I poke them first. I comment on their stuff first. And so if we're wanting something out of life, we have to, I guess, fake it till we make it. If you don't have the confidence, if you don't have the ability to help someone, try. Go out there, put yourself on the line, and that's when you not only are you going to be able to help someone way above the ability that you thought you already had, but you're going to learn so much along the way. They say the best way for, to create love is to serve. It's to put yourself towards others and to help out. And, earlier today, I brought up to you that that's something that I think when we were raised to be a man, it was a different thing than what being a man is today. And I think the change is good. I think you have the ability today to be strong and to be tough and to have control, but also to be vulnerable and to be able to share some of the bullshit that we've all dealt with. And that wasn't, I just, at least I didn't feel like it was an option when we were a kid.
So I would respectfully, mildly disagree with what you said. I don't think being a man has changed. I think the way that it's perceived and the way that it's communicated to the rest of the world and what has become quote unquote acceptable has changed. I think at the essence.
Yes, that is what I was trying to say.
And believe me, dude, like, so I have
bad vocabulary.
So in being out in the dating world and talking to girls that like are want to talk about like energy and crystals and like horoscopes and all this other shit that I've been dealing with in the last 2 years of being single. Like I've encountered a lot of these conversations. They're like, I want you to be in your masculine energy and I want to be in my feminine. I'm like, okay, all right. Let me go ahead and Google what this is all about. And in so doing, I've learned like what my attachment style is. I've learned that astrology is complete bullshit. I've learned a lot of things that a lot of people believe. But one of the things that I have learned, is that, what was the question again?
No question. Keep rolling with it. That's the joy of doing the drunken podcast is
the free form.
You get some fantastic fucking gems, but the segues are not as smooth.
It's not always as smooth as it should be. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Energy and freaking attachment styles and this and that. I think that the energy of being masculine and being a man, am I going to get canceled just for saying the word man on a podcast? Like, what the fuck is happening? I don't know.
Half the country will, but...
So the things that are important to me as a man, I won't speak for the rest of mankind or anybody else with testicles. I'll just say for me personally, is providing for and protecting those that I love and care about and those that have warranted my trust and my protection. So either they are my family, they are my children, they are my network, they're my people, they're you. I think it's ingrained in a lot of us that it's our job to be the last line, the first line of defense, to like shield our people from the world and try to keep any harm from befalling anybody that's in our circle. And I think that's a losing proposition from the jump, because you can't save people from life. Like it's gonna happen, and there's, no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try, you can't protect everyone all the time. You just can't. And I don't think it was okay to talk about those failings and those aspects of coming up short before. You just had to sweep them under the rug, right? In the 50s and the 60s, and everybody that came back from World War II and had seen all kinds of horrors and atrocities, like when things were bad, you just swept it under the rug and you moved on. Being a man hasn't changed, but talking about how to be a man and like what that looks like and the pitfalls and the shortcomings has. And I think, despite the fact that was the fucking hardest generation of son of bitches that this country's ever produced, and that by and large, things are getting a little bit soft, I guess, and people are not tough. Like, I'm trying to toughen up my kids as best I can. I think the ability to be able to communicate and be vulnerable is extremely valuable. How many wives went through a 40 or 50-year marriage and just thought about, like, he never talks to me. He doesn't tell me what's bothering him. We've never connected. He pays all the bills. He takes care of the kids. He drives us to work, whatever, without ever having like a deep and meaningful emotional relationship with their partner, just because they got married because that's what they were told to do. And that was what society dictated was appropriate at the time. I think we've kind of broken away from that cookie cutter mold a little bit now. And I think it's excellent. But when you give people a voice, you realize there's also some fucking people that don't need a voice and they should shut the fuck up.
It's usually people that don't have the experience either. That's the part. It's they speak very loud, but they're guessing, because lots of those people haven't had those experiences. The ones that truly have experienced and lived through their life are typically the quietest, because they're listening. They're the ones that at the end of the day are there.
Yes. I talk a lot, but it's more important to me that I actually say something. And one of the greatest gifts in my life has been framing the things that I do and I say through the eyes of my children. In every appropriate sense of the word or the phrase, they saved my life. I was on a path where, as we've talked about, I was a talented liar who was lying to himself. I didn't even know who I was or where I stood, where I came from, what was valuable to me. None of it. It was all smoke and mirrors. The day that I held my son in my arms the first time was the day that I put my feet on the ground and I said, it's not about me anymore. And I was selfish because of the environment that I was raised in. If I want to pass the accountability that way, I learned to become selfless when it was my job to nurture and care for a life that couldn't nurture and care for itself. And how do I want to be seen through my son's eyes? What kind of a person do I want him to think about when I'm old and infirm or dead? What kind of dad do I want my kids to think that they had? And I frame every decision that I make, every word that I say, every business choice, who I am, going to the gym, eating right, like everything that I do, I frame it through their eyes, because that's all that I can do for them, is try to leave them a little bit better version than myself in the world. And it's taken me 41 years to figure it out, but I feel like I finally have, and it's pretty fucking excellent.
You're doing a great job. I don't know if I've told you this, but I do look up to you as a father.
You're shorter than me, so you have to look up to me.
That's true. I was about to say not true, but absolutely.
What are you, categorically? 5'9"?
Shut the fuck up. I am a strong, on the football roster, 6'1".
Sorry, I'm diffusing your heartfelt statement with humor. Please continue. Tell me more about me.
It's only humor if you're funny.
Oh, shit.
But
I'm tall, beautiful, and smart. I'm not funny.
You put in work. And I say that it seems simple. It's not. There's billboards across I-15 in Utah, and they're put out by the Mormon Church, but they're all nothing to do with religion. It's about being a good person. And one of them was, they're very simple, very like few words, and it's being a father. And I'm paraphrasing, but it says a father is being there.
85% of 100%. That's what it is.
And you're there. The love that your boys have for you, the relationship that you have with them. And here's where I feel I fall short as a father is the amount of time you spend with them and doing things on their level and not yours. I feel that's one of the greatest things that I need to play dolls more. It may be easier with boys. I don't know. That's probably just a cop-out. But
It's just playing, dude. It's just playing it. And I think one of the unforeseen benefits of being in a co-parenting situation is that I don't get to see them all the time. And so the time that I get with them, I try to make the most of it. And it's not about doing like big expensive trips or going here or going there. It's just about understanding who they are as people at this point in their lives and trying to help them understand me. If I die tomorrow, I want them to know two things: that they are the two of the most special people on this world, and that their daddy loved the fuck out of them. And if they know that, if I die tomorrow and they know that for the rest of their lives, I can go to hell, heaven, Valhalla, wherever with my head held high, and I can rest amongst my ancestors knowing that I did a good job because, well, they're two people amongst billions, right? But to me, they're everything. And I think part of what drives me so hard is my dad is brilliant. My dad was top of his class at Princeton. He's a chemical engineer. He's tall, good looking guy, like whatever. Like he was like on paper, an excellent guy. My dad's side of the family has always been very like emotionally stunted. Like my dad would call his dad by his first name. Like we'd drive up to their house and be like, "Oh, hey, Marty, good to see you." And I was like, "That's your dad. Why are you not calling him daddy?" And so I don't fault him for the way that he dealt with and raised us because he didn't know any better. And I think that's one of the things about growing up that you understand is that your parents were just kids like you trying to figure it out and working with the tools that they were given. And you could say that I try so hard with my kids because I want to be the dad that I didn't get. And I didn't have a lot of dreams growing up as a kid. I did want to play NFL football. I wanted to be a famous actor. I never wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to learn to play guitar. I still think I might. I'm going to maybe try to break that off. But the one thing that I can always remember wanting was that I always wanted to be a dad because there was a hole in my life that I couldn't have filled for whatever reason. And no blame, no judgment. Like I said, he did what he could with what he had and who he was. But to me, being everything that he was not has been my mission in life, and I'm fucking killing it.
I've been very much enjoying the videos that you share with your boys playing baseball. It seems like we got some big hitters going forward. They definitely listen to coaching. As were you coach or who was?
I coached them in flag football.
Oh, football. Okay.
Yeah, and we won a championship. Go Siena Lions! Let's go.
Wait, were they on the same team? Two boys?
Yeah, they were. So in the league that we were in, first and second grade were combined. And we started Charlie in school late because of COVID, so he started at 6, and we started Canson early, so they're 1 grade apart, even though they're 2 years apart on the calendar.
Oh, that's cool.
So they'll be in second and third grade this year. So in the league we were in, they combined first and second grade, so I got to coach both of them together on the same team.
Normally I like leaving kids' names out, but they're so young. No one's ever going to listen to this that actually is their age. So
Yeah, Rudolfo and Alfonso, my 2 boys.
Rudolfo and Alfonso.
Yep, they're Italian.
But I mean it, man. I have over the past few years changed the way that I guess play with my kids because of videos you've shared with me with your boys. I think we can't get enough of that in a world where TikTok is filled with dances and YouTube's full of everything. And the more we share of things that have real worth, not how to increase your net worth, but your ability to understand the joys that are readily available and free, and you just have to reach out and grasp it. Those are the things that we just really need to fucking focus as a consumer, people who are listening to stuff. All of these algorithms are driven by us. It's not these big bad companies that are feeding us bullshit. It's us clicking on stuff. And that's something that I struggle with. It's like, all right, am I going to sit here and look at big booty hoes because it's my base like desire?
Sometimes, yes.
Or should I actively search out things that are going to expand my horizons, are going to help me understand myself, the psychology of others, to be able to understanding as a father. And at the end of the day, it's a decision that we actively have to make. We have to struggle daily. It's not a one-time decision. It's all right, I'm waking up today. Should I brush my teeth or should I jerk off?
Yes.
Sometimes
yes
both,
and yes.
Sometimes at the same time.
At the same time. With your left hand, both of them.
Ooh, is that the stranger? What's the stranger? That's when you sit on it.
That's the left. No, stranger's
left hand.
Well, you sit on it, and then you left hand it.
Oh, so it's a double doozy. Rachel, did you know that?
Yeah.
All right, we're teaching things to people already. Check mark on that one.
I do have kind of a question for you guys, though. So somebody who doesn't have kiddos, do you feel like having kids is kind of like...
Get a little bit closer to the mic.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like having kiddos has reinvigorated your childlike sense of wonder? Like, you're talking about playing with them, and they say that a lot. Like, having kids brings out that inner child. Do you feel like that's true?
So I don't think for me, I ever really lost it. I think just having them has allowed me to like wave that flag in public a lot more. So like, I love Nerf guns. And now that I have 2 boys, I can buy any Nerf guns that I want under the premise that it's for them. I think fart jokes are funny. I'm never going to not think somebody farting is funny. And now that I have boys that are 7 and 9 that are farting all the time, I can laugh about it. So, yes, the answer to your question is yes. I don't know that it reinvigorated it, but it definitely like strengthened it and helped me to, not try to overcomplicate having fun, because through their eyes, like, perfect example, when Sean and I were kids, we would open up our Christmas presents and we would sword fight with the wrapping paper tubes. Like, we'd get this like badass like Matchbox car set, and then we'd be like dueling with the cardboard tubes because they were there and that was fun at the moment. So like, connecting to your inner sense of childhood and like and even not having kids, like, do things that you don't think they're appropriate for your age. Like, go jump in a ball. I mean, maybe not Chuck E. Cheese because them shits are dirty, but like, go play putt golf. Go out and throw a frisbee. Like, do things that are like basic with people that you like, and you'd be surprised with the results that you can come up with just by like doing very simple and like childlike things. Like, we go and get ice cream, and we're like looking at the different flavors, and they're like, ew, pistachio, that looks gross, and they order it, and I'm like, okay, well, you're on your own now because daddy's not having any of that. But yeah, I think it definitely helps having fresh eyes to the world that have never paid taxes or had their hearts broken yet, hopefully, which is a part of it. And I think that's one of the hardest things too. You have girls, so you're in an entirely different position than I am. I'm a guy, I've had my heart broken too, but how do you set them up? Because it's an inevitability. Like, how do you build their sense of self and their sense of strength enough to where it's not going to like break them? Because there's fucking kids killing themselves, and there's kids that have like are locked in their room and they're playing World of Warcraft and they have no outlet, they have nobody to talk to. How do you prepare them to weather life's storms and to be ready, no matter how much it might bang them up, to deal with that kind of stuff? And like, in the world of social media and YouTube and like all these outside influences, like, how do you control the narrative, or how do you like filter out things that are like not helpful and build that best version of your little person? But it applies to people without kids too, because you're still building yourself, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, like you're not a finished product. Like nobody ever gets to nirvana. It's a goal that you always try to achieve. What steps are you taking? And like, are you taking time to just lay in the grass and look up at the sky? When was the last time you just looked at a tree and appreciated it for being a tree, for how old it is, how tall it is, how green the leaves are, how thick the trunk, like.
Probably when I was on psychedelics.
Yeah, I mean, mushrooms help, but
Whose blades of grass?
there's so many moments in the course of every day that we are so busy with our own little agendas that we just miss. And so how do you like press pause for yourself? And like, it takes work. You have to say, whoa. Like today when we were driving back from San Marcos and we were driving through on 1604 and there were some like limestone cliffs on both sides of the road. I was driving. I was like, this is a really pretty piece of road. I'm going to take a moment to just acknowledge that this is a very nice place to be on a very nice day with a guy that I care about a lot. So taking those mental snapshots.
Was that before or after I fell asleep?
You were asleep when this happened.
Nice.
Yeah, you had already nodded off. But then also.
That's my inner child coming out.
And also helping your kids to appreciate that stuff too, right? Because everything's moving so fast and they're trying to figure out who they are and they've got friends, they've got teachers, they've got school, they got this and that. We'll be driving. I'll be like, boys, look at that bird. That's an excellent bird. And they're like, that is a pretty nice bird. Gray blue heron? Yes, sir. Yes, it is. And so I've got them bird watching like I kind of do a little bit. So it's okay.
You're raising old men.
Have you ever thought about bird watching and how it's kind of perverted?
Say what?
Bird watching is kind of perverted.
Yeah, but how?
Well, so you're looking through binoculars at a thing that doesn't know that you're looking at it. And then they might potentially like doing like a little mating dance. And they might be waving their feathers around, which essentially in bird language is like, what a fuck, what a fuck, what a fuck. They all do it. Every bird has its own what a fuck song. And I enjoy watching whatever plumage they have on display. So it's kind of like a less sleazy voyeurism, I guess.
Bird watching is people watching at a bar.
There is a thread on X I just found.
Say what?
Birds aren't real?
Oh, bird watching is so perverted. You blow a little noisemaker that shouts, what a fuck, what a fuck. And then when a bird shows up wanting to fuck, you were like, aha, I see you through my binoculars. Sick behavior.
Yeah, I can't.
Twisted behavior.
Yeah, I can't.
Did you read that? Because that's almost word for word.
I can't fuck you, bird. I don't have a cloaca.
Oh, wait, what?
Bird sex organism or organ. Cloaca.
Cloaca?
Cloaca, yeah.
Define a cloaca for me.
Birds don't produce liquid and solid waste. They experience
the white literal shit that comes out. Cloaca, a common cavity at the end of the digestive tract for the release of both excretory and genital. Oh, so their dick is also their butthole.
No, they have dicks. But if you want to butt fuck a bird, it's in the cloaca.
Excretory and genital products and vertebrates.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just a hole that does it.
It's just a hole.
So instead of a penis and a butthole, you have a
cloaca.
Venus. Venus?
I believe in
Venus
Houston
hole?
we call it the badussy.
Wait, what?
The badussy.
That's a Houston thing?
Yeah, it's butt, dick, and pussy.
Butt, dick, and all one thing?
Yeah, it's all one
The
thing.
cloaca.
It's one package.
Cloaca.
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 If you're
like
Australian, if you're Australian, you say cloaca.
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 Funniest thing I've ever heard an Australian say is redhead is a ranga, short for orangutan. I just thought that was great.
They don't even live in Australia.
But that's what Australians call redheads. Fact check me. If you're from Australia, reach out. Tell me if I'm full of shit.
If you're listening in Australia, we like that you like Americans.
We actually have some Australian listeners. Isn't that crazy? Like the amount of like international listeners to this show fucking astounds me. And it's a lot of them are countries that don't even fucking speak English. Maybe they're just practicing.
I'm coming to Perth.
Don't learn English from me because you're going to say fuck a lot.
Yeah. That's true.
And I'll probably convert you to Mormonism someday.
No. Wait, am I your third wife?
Want to be?
Yes.
Maybe my husband, unless you're going to pull a Bud Light.
Can I give you the Gluck 5000 in the back of the Cybertruck?
If that's a blowjob, sure.
No, it's not.
What's a Gluck 5000?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
It is a blowjob.
You're just teasing me now. You're just teasing me. My wife will listen to this someday. Hey,
Has Jay showed you the fart on the Cybertruck since y'all were talking about fart earlier, the whoopee cushion?
yeah, I can fart. Like, I can like pull up my phone right now and like see if people are looking at it and if people are like gaping.
Gaping.
People are gaping. My mind's elsewhere. If people are gawking. That's the word I was looking for.
Mhm.
Taking pictures and stuff. I push a button and it farts at them. It's pretty funny.
Does it release a smell or just a sound? Because
Come on, Elon. Everyone who's listening to this, forward it. Go on X, open up an account, do the paid subscription because that's the only people list to.
and build a dead possum into your vehicle so that we can release its decomposition gases.
That's just ridiculous,
yeah.
Chuck.
No, I mean,
No one's ever going to do that.
Cybertrucks are ridiculous to begin with, so I think it's on point.
They are ridiculous. Ridiculously good look. No, they're not good looking. It's I like to call it God's doorstop. They are built for utility, and that's why they look that way instead of most vehicles, which they build it to look good, and then they,
I think it
destroy our environment.
I think of it as if Optimus Prime was aborted.
If Optimus Prime was aborted
Before he turned into an 18-wheeler.
Before he turned into an 18-wheeler, he's like...
We probably shouldn't say aborted on this chat.
I don't think anyone who's offended by that is going to listen to anything before what we're talking about right now.
Perfect.
If you're offended by that, you have definitely deleted this and reported me to Spotify.
To be fair, it was a lot of fun to drive. I giggled and I kicked my feet because it was so much fun. I was like...
It's one of the most enjoyable things I've ever experienced. I don't want this show to be about the Cybertruck, but God damn it. Like, it has everything I want. It's a sports car that can off-road better than my Tacoma.
Can you haul a camper? Yes, you can. Can you haul a boat? Yes, you can, because we've done that.
Can you haul it for 200 miles if you charge halfway? That's the only downside. That's the only downside of the whole entire thing is you can't go like 250 miles pulling a trailer. If you don't do that, the truck for you is a Cybertruck.
I found the massaging seat feature to be a little lacking.
I rented my truck to a guy that's got one of those Audi e-trons, and it had one of those massaging seats.
Shiatsu roller.
He's like, hey, do you want to do a truck swap? Or actually, I said that to him, but he was totally down. So I may be riding around in a vehicle with massaging seats.
I don't think that's a good idea. I feel like it can like massage you into sleep and then you'll crash. But if it's an e-vehicle, then it's probably just going to drive itself. So it doesn't really matter at that point.
It's funny. I fall asleep when I'm the passenger, like constantly. I feel like a little infant. It just lures me to sleep. When I'm driving, I think it's probably my time in the oil field, driving 12, 13 hours at a time. Driving does not bother me. I look forward to windshield time. Throw a little audiobook on, maybe a little podcast, maybe the iaM Woodstock podcast, listen to every single episode, like them all, comment, all of that.
All right, I have one question on that subject. Do you prefer to drive with a shoe on or a shoe off?
I'm a shoe guy, and here's why. I have a story. I was teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ,
Oh, Lord.
to a guy down in
Hail Satan.
Brazil. And he was one of the few guys I taught to. He had a car. He was well-to-do. Very cool guy.
That's not the guy that robbed you?
No, different guy. Looked the same. No, that was just a racist joke.
Oh, my God.
But actually, the guy I was teaching to, super white. He didn't look like he wasn't brown at all.
White
And
people are the worst.
northeast of Brazil, it's mostly like all mixed. That's why they're all so fucking beautiful. It's like Portuguese and Dutch and Spanish and
Yeah,
the
I'm
natives
from-
and
I'm from-
blacks
I'm
all
from
mixed
there.
together. You're too white. But no, get back to the story. He was driving without a chancla. They don't say chancla, but like a sandal down there. And he happened to have like a little thorn on his foot. And so he went to hit the brakes. Because of the thorn, he pulled his foot off the brake, ran into a building. Therefore, I do not drive without shoes typically.
Okay.
It's a safety thing.
Yeah, I don't walk through thorn bushes, but,
You don't live in Brazil either.
no, I don't. Thank God. Love Brazil. Never been.
Brazil has some amazing things going for it, but the amount of traveling I've done, the U.S. is really fucking nice to live in. We are pampered fucking babies that get everything, and then we bitch about it. That's why everyone hates us.
I've had conversations with myself about like moving my kids and getting off the grid and like going to like Montana and making them chop wood and like fish for salmon for us to live. And then I'm like, it's gonna be really hard to get Spotify out there. So I don't.
We're social creatures. That's the only downside of getting off the grid is you got to get off the grid with a group of people, but then it turns into a fucking cult. And although I'm down with that, only if I'm the leader. Because if you're not the leader, then they're fucking your wife and not the other way around.
I think it's pretty clear between the people sitting in this room that you would not be the leader.
Bro.
You think I would
Definitely.
You think I would
later.
follow you?
100%.
I would take you as my trusted vizier. You could be my Jafar.
Physically, you are far superior than me in every way.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Except for I grow a decent beard, and
I beat the shit out of you. I'm the king.
no, but you wouldn't beat the shit out of me.
Well, no,
'cause
I
you
wouldn't.
respect me so
I wouldn't
much.
because I love you, but I choke you out.
Exactly.
I choke you out gently.
So I would talk
And tie
you
you
into
up
submission, and you'd
seductively.
be like, "All right, Jace, you can fuck my wife."
There's no argument you could make that I would agree to let you run the community
We'll see.
unless you made
Why
me,
you pull up Starlink over here, Rachel?
unless you made me a master of war
Deal.
so that we
See,
could.
I'm
so
a leader now.
All right,
It was that easy.
All right, we're going to invade Billings.
Everyone listening to this, we have thousands and thousands of witnesses that I am now the cult leader, and you're the you say God of War.
No, God, Jesus, Lord, no, man, I would never say that on tape, but yes.
So why you pull up Starlink?
You're just talking about Spotify in the middle of nowhere. You know, you do not have a excuse anymore.
Oh yeah, you can go in the middle of nowhere with Starlink.
So I was very late adopter of paying for music. Like I rode Pandora free for as long as I could until like 2 years ago. And, YouTube ads, this and that, having any song you want to play on demand at any time, at any point in your life is pretty invaluable. And I would say, like, to tie things back to my trauma and my healing process and why we're having this conversation in the first place. Thanks for derailing us, Jace. Music saves. It really does, because it captures emotions and feelings in a way that conversations can never. And it's cathartic and it's universal. Like, you don't even have to understand the lyrics to understand the emotions of the song. And I give Spotify a lot of credit because I built some very peppy EDM playlists when I've been on the comeback trail. Two friends, thank you for everything. If you wake up in the morning and you throw on some fucking tasty jams,
It
changes the trajectory of your whole day, like your whole mindset. Like I enjoy a tasty jam in the morning more than a cup of coffee.
So that reminds me, I was in choir because I'm really cool. I was also a starting linebacker, so you got to get some cred there. But the starting quarterback was also in the choir with me, and we won a national event. Anyways,
You said the choir.
Yeah, I was in a fucking choir in high school, and it was the top choir. That was pretty fucking good. But
Hallelujah.
our choir teacher said something, and this was to a group of Mormons. They said, many people get into music because that's the only spiritual feeling they can get. And us as Mormons, we feel that every Sunday, so it's not as spiritual, and that's why we're more technical, and we're going to kick the shit out of those motherfuckers in San Francisco. She didn't say that word for word because she was Mormon, but we did pretty much run the table at that national choir competition in San Francisco.
So you edged with music?
I don't know what that means.
You don't know what edging is?
Oh, is that where you like jerk off until you almost come
Right.
and then you stop?
Right.
I read about that on Reddit.
Yeah.
You need to try that out.
It's overrated.
Apparently on the right amount of drugs and porn, you could do that for hours.
Okay. Okay.
According to what I've read. It's research, people. Research. I got to do this as a podcast host. You got to research weird shit, especially if you're trying to break stigmas.
Paul Atreides says that fear is the mind killer, but I think porn is the mind killer.
Porn, I think it's not inherently evil, but if you overuse it, similar to alcohol, similar to weed, similar to nicotine, similar to cheeseburgers, it's going to be a negative for you.
Yes.
I don't know how it's easy, guys. That's as simple as it fucking is. Just don't overdo shit. Period.
I think having sexual gratification on demand has reduced the strength and the ambition of the male gender.
We've always had sexual gratification on demand, though. It's just called dry rubbing.
Bro, well, that's imagination, and that takes some work.
If you got a good, what is it, the highlight reel? Which I do.
Seventh grade.
I'm sorry.
Seventh grade. Let me set the scene for you. Seventh grade. Sugarland Middle School, Sugarland, Texas. A couple of young boys curious about the female sex and all the things that, were involved in that process. Printing out pornographic pictures on their parents' inkjet printers.
And just regular paper.
And distributing them at the bus ramp. Like, that was...
Were you selling them or just giving them out because you're good Samaritans?
No, I was buying all of them.
Oh, you're the one buying them? How much money of your parents did you spend on shitty porn?
It was like $2 per still shot, so $3,000.
$2 back in the 90s? That's like $10 now.
I'm telling you, inflation's a bitch. But dude, like back in the day, you had to work to like see chicks naked, and now it's very easy with a phone with no parental controls, and
it's not as good. It's not as good.
I agree.
What is the best seasoning? It's hunger,
rarity, exclusivity, the anticipation of the nipple.
I have a good friend. We both know him. He says he absolutely will never look at porn anymore because the sex with his wife was exponentially better. And I think that there's, sometimes you can't sleep unless you jerk off. And if your wife's not there, or maybe she's just not in the mood and you need to sleep, it's either jerk off or take a Benadryl. I don't know which is better. If you think that jerking off's a sin, obviously take the Benadryl. If you think Benadryl's a sin, then you're fucked and you're just not going to get good sleep.
Yeah, I don't do that, but I can see that as a viable option for people with sleeplessness. Yep. I harness that sexual repression.
Do you look at porn? Tell us all your dirtiest porn searches. No, let's not go down that route. Or do
guys that look like me.
It's funny because it's true.
So not that often anymore. The thrill of the if it's easy, it's not worth it. And if it wasn't hard, then everybody can do it. That's a great line from what was the movie with Tom Hanks, where A League of Their Own. And he's talking about baseball, and she's like, it's so hard. I don't know how we do this. He's like, of course it's hard. The hard is what makes it great. If it wasn't hard, everybody could do it. And finding a mutually validating sexual relationship with a person is not easy, but that's what the goal is, right? And not to dip too far back into the past, but in the last couple of years, I've been on the apps and I've done the dating thing, and I've talked to too many people at the same time and try to keep 8 to 10 conversations going with different women at the same time. And it's you're giving a little piece of yourself to try to get to know this person. I've never been a casual sex person. I feel like sex is always better when you have a connection, right? If you're emotionally and intellectually comfortable with somebody and you can be free to do all the freaky shit that you want to do, it's way better versus a drunken kind of bumping uglies hookup, right? You just fumbling through it and it's awkward afterwards. That's never been my jam. So I think it takes and we live in a culture right now, and especially with the dating apps, it's always a who's next mentality. And if you're just looking for superficial gratification for your own ego or whatever, you can do it, unless you're very creepy or short or bald or whatever, something that's harder for those people. I can't really connect to that, but you have to focus on getting to know that person on their terms and understanding who they are as a human being versus just looking at them as another swipe, right? It's oh, something went wrong. There's something I don't agree with here. On to the next one. And we've created this kind of culture where everything is so easy and it's so on demand and it's so accessible. 24 hours a day, you could theoretically be on Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, whatever.
And in your case, Grindr.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. Cause why not take advantage of all the people on earth instead of just half? But it makes it so much easier to not be authentic, and you just present that side of yourself that you want that other person to see in hopes of you get to bang them and maybe it's good. But that's no way to live your life and build a relationship. And I learned that the hard way because I ran through the gauntlet for a while, and met some really excellent people, but I wasn't in the right headspace to let them see who I truly was and let them behind the curtain, right? We all got the face that we present and the image of ourselves that we think is what the world wants to see. But that's going to attract the wrong kind of people. You got to be yourself and you got to be authentic, and the wrong ones will not gravitate towards you. If you let your flag fly, whatever it is, the person that's I'm kind of interested to see what this guy or girl is about. Like that's the one that's worth talking to. Like even if they don't fit that stereotypical mold of what you think you're looking for, you'd be really surprised that you can find somebody that's excellent in the places that you never looked before. But you got to be committed and you got to be like dedicated to the prospect of really getting to know them versus putting them in a queue and putting them on a spreadsheet, you know?
It's been a while since I've been on Tinder. I mean, I'll admit.
I would hope so.
It was very enjoyable. The dopamine dump was unparalleled in my opinion. It's fantastic. It's hard not to open that app when you're single trying to look for something. I highly respected those people, and it was few, but there were on there that would say, hey, I'm not looking for a relationship. I just want to fuck. They wouldn't say fuck because I think it was edited out. But those are the type of people that you would actually, you know, looking at it from a 30,000 viewpoint, those are the people that you want to be with because at least they're honest.
Just be honest with your intentions, and not just romantically, but in life, in your career, and with yourself. What are your intentions? And am I doing things and making choices that keep me on that path, or am I not? Do you have somebody in your life that can help you get back on the path, that can see you for what you're doing? Maybe. But at the end of the day, you don't have to have friends that will crack back on you. It's nice if you do. You're going to always be your own best and worst critic. So being able to step outside of the situation and look at your life from the outside, I think is probably the best skill that I've ever developed. Because when it's just me and I'm fighting the world, I can justify any bad choice that I make for whatever reason. But if I can look at myself objectively and how I fit into the people around me and the world that I've created around myself, and be very objective and truthful with myself about, am I doing things that are in line with who I want to be and the legacy that I want to leave? It snaps everything into focus, and you've got to be able to look at yourself and say, I missed on this one. I dropped the ball on this one. I fumbled the bag on this one. Like, you're never going to grow. You're never going to learn. You're never going to be more than what you are right now if you're unwilling or unable to examine yourself through God's eyes or Odin's eyes or Baha'u'llah's eyes or whatever. Like, if you cannot see yourself for what you're doing and the choices that you're making, you'll be able to explain away everything. And at the end of the day, the hardest conversations you're ever going to have are going to be with yourself.
It's a really hard balance, judging yourself for the things you need to be judged for, but also being confident and loving yourself. You have to have both. If you have one over the other, on one side, you're going to fucking hate yourself. And on the other side, you're going to become a narcissistic asshole. And the balance of those two is necessary to be a balanced human being. I mean, it's obvious when I say balanced, but that's really what it is. You have to trust yourself. You have to forgive yourself, because like we've said before, we've all fucked up, and you have to move forward from those fuck ups. But at the same time, you can't ignore the fuck ups.
You have to give yourself grace, and you have to give other people grace. And I think giving people grace and giving yourself grace and understanding what forgiveness truly means is probably one of the best, but one of the most difficult things that you can ever do as a person. It sounds cliche. It sounds like new age and kind of like, hippie's not the right word, but at least once a day, I'll take a moment and I just do this. I give myself a fucking pat on the shoulder and I say, you know what, Chuck? We did a good job today. You're doing all right. You're doing all right. We didn't do everything perfect. We didn't do everything right. We might have slipped here. We might have slipped there. We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at that. We're going to examine it. But by and large, you left the world a little bit better place today at the end of the day than you did in the morning. And being nice to people at the gas station, being nice to people in traffic, as hard as that may be, the energy that we put out and the things that we give to this universe, I never thought energy was a real thing. Like, I was like, that is some fucking far out there, fucking wild ass, hippie ass shit. Like, whatever Texas nomenclatures that I was raised to believe, energy and like, yeah.
Can't cook energy.
Dude, energy and vibration is absolutely a real fucking thing, dude. And when you're vibrating at a high level, when you're feeling good about yourself and the world, people feel that around you, even if they don't know that they're feeling that around you. And you can make somebody's day. And making somebody's day makes my day. And it sounds kind of selfish in that way, but like I'll go to the gas station and they'll be like, casual greeting. How you doing today? And instead of saying, I'm good and you, I say, I am fantastic. I am on fire. I am unstoppable today. And they'll be like, who the fuck is this guy? What is he on? Is he crazy? Is he on drugs?
I want someone wish he's having.
I'm like, and the thing that I always say that always gets a good reaction is and I mean this when I say it, I say, it's a good day to be me. I hope it's a great day to be you. And I turn around and I walk away. And it hits because we've all got shit. We've all got problems. We've all got hang-ups, but at the end of the day, just being here, just being on this earth, just taking a breath right now is fucking beautiful. Because there's the chances of you being here, that particular sperm hit that egg and that you're here and you have a life is 1 in trillions. And I don't believe in the Christian definition of miracles. Not that I don't believe, but my beliefs on organized religion is a conversation for another day. But I think that if you can approach your day, no matter like us sitting in traffic today, like it was like I was getting frustrated. I was like, God damn it, we're just going bumper to bumper all the way to New Braunfels. This fucking sucks. I want to get there. But then I stopped.
My buddy fell asleep on me, asshole.
I stopped myself and I was like, you know what? The sun is shining. The AC's working. I've got my boy Jace in the seat next to me, and I've got my 2 kids in the back seat behind me. If I was dead, just none of this would be happening. And even as undesirable as this experience is on the surface, at its very worst, it's better than the alternative, which is not having this. And in the book that I referenced earlier, the last lecture, Randy Pausch says, experience is what you get when you don't get what you wanted. And so what I took away from that is that there's you never lose. If you don't look at it with the mentality, like even when things are tough, even when things are not going my way, it helps you define what it is that you want and what it is that you don't want. And it just helps you build the framework of your life to where you can get to a place where I am now, where I do the things that I want to do. I talk to the people that I want to talk to. I read the things that I want to read. I participate in things that serve me. And if they don't, then I cast them aside, whether that's people, things, social media, whatever. If it's not contributing to the vision of who I am and who I want to be and the legacy that I want to leave for my kids, if I die tomorrow, then it's gone. And looking at it through the framework of my children's eyes makes every decision very easy. And I know not everybody has that, but imagine if you did. Or, if you have parents, if you have brothers and sisters, like, how do you want them to think about you? And it's not that how they think about you when you're gone is so important. It's how you, by keeping that in your frame, you're going to make choices and do things in your life that you might not have done if you were not keeping those things in the back of your mind.
Chuck, we went deep.
It's the only way I know how to go.
Everyone get that? We need to talk more. I told you that earlier. That's a failing as a person. I talk to you probably more than most folks on a deeper level.
It's not a failure. It's a bullet point on a to-do list.
And that's the best way to end it. Feed my ego, baby.
Peace out, bitch.
Till next time, Chuck. Love y'all. Bye, everybody.